right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Fitton Center for Creative Arts here in beautiful downtown Hamilton, Ohio. My name is Ian Mackenzie Thurley. I am the executive director, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to Celebrating Self here in the ballroom, the magnificent Carruthers Ballroom, upstairs on the 3rd floor here at the Fitton Center. For those at home watching and hearing the applause, believe it or not, this is our first Fitton Center event in 1 year in the ballroom. So we had a small issue with a health crisis that we're still working through, you may have heard of. And then when we got through that, the elevator broke. So here we are. So we really appreciate everybody's patience with that. A huge thank you goes out to our team, particularly Matt Rucker and our facilities team, who really know how these stairs work very, very well. So thank you to them and to Gary and our team in downstairs in administration, taking care of all the things here to get that elevator back up and running. So if you'd like to have a go, it's only $20 a ride. $30 return, and we'll take care of things. We can do a full bar service in there. So we're excited to be back up here today. With that, we want to thank our sponsors and donors, but in particular, the Ohio Arts Council, Arts Wave in Cincinnati, the City of Hamilton, and the Hamilton Community Foundation for their incredible support, most particularly over a challenging 2 years. Thank you so much to them. We really appreciate it. And on this day, we'd like to welcome our friends from the media and thank them. Most particularly, we have representatives here, obviously from WCPO 9, from the Journal News, and our good friends at TV Hamilton. Thank you again for all of your support of the Fitton Center of Hamilton and in the arts of Hamilton. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. So we picked a really great week to be busy, but we have about 4 or 5 events this week. So obviously you're sitting in one of them now. It's only raining outside. Things may change. But this Friday night, we have our Fitton Family Friday. We have the Playhouse in the Park doing the Hare and the Tortoise. I don't know who wins, but come along, you can find out. That is Friday night. We will start digging on Friday morning, I promise you. Saturday afternoon at 5:30, we have an incredible new exhibition, the Collision exhibition. And if you'd like to take a sneak peek of it, it's downstairs on our 2nd floor galleries. Lots of color, lots of amazing art, and it's got a pretty subversive underlie in there. So it's a great exhibition to come and see. That's at 5:30 this Saturday night. And then here in the ballroom, we have on 7:30 on Saturday night, Professor Dan, Rio Van, and the Eclectic Jazz Co-op are going to be performing on this very stage. We'll have a dance floor and a bar, and that's going to be fabulous. They're pretty incredible. If you're a fan of postmodern jukebox, it's in a similar vein to that. So a great opportunity. And as I said, we will be digging ourselves out from Friday sometime, and we're going to hear about how incredible our roads are going to be cleared and ready for those events. And with that, we'll thank our good friends at the City of Hamilton, who are incredible partners throughout the community, incredible supporters of the arts, way more than you might just see from the incredible fronts and the shows and Street Spark. They really do support us across the board, which we really do appreciate. Excited to be back up here, excited to have continuing our Celebrating Self, and we continue today with someone who has been a really good friend to Hamilton, an incredible advocate of the arts in Cincinnati, and involved with Arts Wave and the Youth Choral Collective and other organizations throughout Cincinnati and the 513, and a really good friend to Hamilton and a great advocate. We know that we've known a secret for very long that things are happening in this town and been quite amazing. But getting that story out to other people has at times been challenging. And we've had some really good champions. And one of those has been Evan Millward. Believe it or not, with all the media that we get to do and people I get to meet, Evan and I met at Municipal Brew Works. On the job, we were working. There was celebrity judges. He was more the celebrity, I was more the judge. And then it rained. I remember it rained and rained and rained. So and there was a bar there, and oh, you're in for a good day today. So that's where we got to meet. And as I said, he's been an incredible supporter of the Fitton Center, but particularly of Hamilton and championing what's going on up in this city. So when we had this opportunity to talk about what goes on, and that's one of the big things of Celebrating Self, we see things right in front of us. We don't always know how it happens. So I'd ask Evan to come up and show us how we get from a story idea to the 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock news, depending on where we're at. And also that we're seeing things on our phones, we're seeing things on our computers, and how all that comes together and in an interesting and vibrant way. For somebody who knows this area, it's obviously a slow news week this week. There's a football team going out to LA, and there's a storm coming in. Yeah, I sent out press releases yesterday, and I just gave up. So, but we're excited, very excited to welcome to the stage and welcome to the Fitness Center our good friend, Mr. Evan Millward from WCPO.
Wow, I get to break in the ballroom? Did you know who you invited? Okay, well, I want to thank you all for coming out. We brought out the best weather we could for you, so thank you for making the trip out here. What we're going to do today is something I don't think I have tried to coordinate ever in my career, which is I'm going to give you this great presentation, and right out of the gate, we're also going to do a live shot for our new newscast and a live interview with one of our very own talking about the roads and the situation here, and we'll see how well I've coordinated this. It could be great. It could be fun. You're going to learn how TV works real quick. So I'll start out a little bit about me, and these are really more, this is not a college class. You don't have to take notes. There's not going to be much on these slides that makes sense, hardly at all. This is probably just for me to keep me on track. But a little bit about me. I grew up not too far from here in Beaver Creek outside of Dayton. I went to Ohio University, also not too far from here, and there's some Bobcats back there that I met already because we always find each other. But went for journalism school there. I've worked for the Columbus Dispatch. I've worked in newspapers, Dayton Daily News for a stint. And then I went to Missouri and worked in TV in Columbia, Missouri. And came back home 7.5 years ago or so. Yeah, 7.5 now. Came back here to Cincinnati area, Cincinnati-Dayton area. I say Cincinnati's just close enough to home that I didn't need to get any closer. But no surprise visits, everything has to be planned. So what are we doing here? Well, I hope you enjoyed lunch. I'm going to take this off because I like to wander. And there's no wire on it. So what are we doing here? Well, Ian asked me to talk a little bit about how we get from point A to point B and everything in between when it comes to a news story and what you may end up seeing on TV or on your phone in your WCPO 9 app. So I'm going to try and show you as best I can. I also am a big believer in if people are better at something than you, just let them do it. So I'm going to let some of my really talented friends do some of the heavy lifting for me as well. I'm also keeping an eye. I'm not being rude, I promise, but I'm keeping an eye on my phone because we're going to do this live interview in just a minute, and I'm going to have to call in and figure it out here. So that is a blank slide that I left in there, and as a mistake, there's just a little bit of news happening this week. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a live interview, and Dan Arthur from Public Works has so graciously been voluntold that he is going to do this, and I hope you are kind to him. So we're going to talk a little bit about how news works and how we get our stories and then how we do them. Oops, there it is. And then the decisions game. Who makes them? How do we make them? How many decisions do we make in a day? I'll give you a hint. It's a lot. Sometimes it feels like this. Everything's fine. I'm fine. This is all fine. Certainly right now, with a Bengals Super Bowl appearance and a winter storm and an ongoing pandemic and all the other news we're doing, I think we all feel this way. Even if you're not in news, we're like, yeah, this is fine. Everything is fine. So there you go. So I love some of the Channel 9 history. I was going to bring some of it with me, but the weather was bad. We've been around for more than 70 years, and a lot has changed. A lot has stayed exactly the same, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. But it looks like we are getting close to time for this live interview. Everyone say hello to Eric. Eric is our photojournalist who has graciously been voluntold that he will be out trying to engineer this for us today as well. Eric, before I call into the IFB, or how are we on time? We got 3 minutes. Okay, very good. In TV, that's an eternity. So as we're setting up a live shot, which you see in almost every newscast these days, and we sometimes do something fun, sometimes we just stand there and go, yes, that's right. This happened, back to you. This takes a little bit of coordination. Eric is our guy with the camera, the audio, and he is wearing a backpack. And you know how you used to see the live trucks roll all over town with our logo on them, the big satellite dishes. They have in many ways been replaced by these backpacks that run on cell phone signal, which is fun because we can go live anywhere. I've been live on a boat, I've been live on a bus, I've been live on the streetcar, I've been live in people's basements, things we could never have done. And also sometimes, because it runs on cell signal, you look like Picasso. Hopefully this doesn't happen today, otherwise my grand vision is trash. So as we're setting up this live shot, Eric's getting called in. He calls into an intake room. We call it the feed room back at Channel 9 on Gilbert Avenue in downtown Cincinnati. He calls back and says, hey, I've booted up the backpack. I have TVU1, which is what it's called. And it says, can you see me? Can you hear me? We do mic checks. And then just make sure everything works. Sometimes they go, no, it looks like a Picasso painting. Can you change your delay? Sometimes we can add a delay to it, and that frees up some of the cell signal. I don't know. Now I'm starting to talk way above my pay grade. But at this point, he's getting up and ready, and this is when I come in, and I call into, we call it the IFB, internal feedback. It's just so I can hear what's going on. And so we are on IFB 11 today. Oops. I have all these phone, it's just a phone number anymore that I call into. I have them all saved in my phone now. And this is what I will hear.
Just south of the Ohio River, you guys will see
This is our new newscast.
going on. And then I just have later on, it's just 2 minutes out.
And we're 2 minutes out. So the producer, Tammy, who I've worked with for a long time at Channel 9, producer Tammy will give us time cues. She'll let us know you're 3 minutes out, you're 2 minutes out. You just heard the 2-minute warning, as it were. So at this point, I'm going to say, Dan, let's get up and start to figure this out. I've got a microphone for you. The Fitness Center so graciously has let us tap into their system.
2, 2, 2.
And now I'm going to put this in my ear so you don't hear all of this, and they don't hear all of this back at home. How many of you have these? This is the big fancy technology we use in television. Eric, where do you want us? Floor, stage, floor? And I get to introduce all of you first because they're going to be like, why is there people in the back of this live interview? Why is Evan talking to someone in a ballroom? So at this point, I'm just waiting for them to come out to us. Kristen Swilley's anchoring the news here at noon for us today, and she's going to basically say, yeah, as we're continuing to follow the fact that things could get really messy really quickly tomorrow, we're going to go to Evan to talk about how they're doing things in Hamilton. I don't know if you know this, they have a really cool new system where you can see when your road has last been plowed. It is innovative to the point that it's better than what even cities like Cincinnati and Columbus and Cleveland are doing. Say that again, Tammy. Oh, we're 30 out. Very good. There you go. So we're going to learn a little bit about that too. Oh, okay. So we don't have great service in here. Isn't it fun? Where do you want me, Eric, so you don't have to move as much? Okay. Also, I apologize for business up top and then like ratty pants because I have to go outside and report on weather after this on bottom. It's a very glamorous life. Thank you, Sheila E. We're standing by. Thank you. Raven just gave the 9-day forecast, which is my cue. Afternoon, Kristen. This worked out perfectly for us, actually. I want to introduce you to some of our friends who are here with lunch, with us at lunch at the Fitness Center at the Celebrating Self series, the February edition. Say hello, everyone. You're on live TV on Channel 9 here at noon. But we also have Dan Arthur here because we do want to talk a little bit about how you're preparing for this. Could be snow, could be ice, could be both. It's rain right now. That's a problem because you don't have a large window to pre-treat. So what are your crews doing today into tonight ahead of this?
Yes, thanks. I appreciate it. So as you'd mentioned, the rain is both helpful and hurtful. We have the rain in here, and it's washing away all the residual. We had that storm event last Friday, as you know, put down a nice layer of salt everywhere, and that's currently being washed away. So our intent is to bring the guys in tonight. We have all our crews ready and on standby. The trucks have all been through. They're in good shape and ready to go, and we're just ready to hit it as fast as we can. The plan is to get a layer of salt down on everything at the right spot. So we're watching the news, we're watching stuff on the internet, paying attention to our apps constantly, and then going to hit that spot where we can try to get down a layer of salt before the ice starts up.
Yeah, you have to be ready to pounce when you can overnight.
Correct.
So you have a new technology here. It's called Snow Informer. For those of us in the community, it's a website that we can just pull up and see exactly when our street had last been plowed. What are we looking at here when we pull up this website? It's on your website. What do we see?
Sure. So you go to hamilton-ohio.gov. That's our city website. On that, right at the top, we have a new web page we put together. It's called Preparing for Winter Storms. In that, there's a button that they can click for a web app, and that takes you right to that Snow Informer. Well, all of our trucks out there, we have 17 trucks that are out there treating the streets for the city of Hamilton. While they're out there, they're all GPSed, and that's sending signals back into there. So you can see which roads were done in the last 2 hours, which ones in the last 8, which ones haven't been done yet. Obviously, we hit those on a priority list. The high traffic areas, bridges, overpasses, hills, curves, hit those things to keep everything as safe as possible, and then get back in the residentials as soon as we can.
This is technology that, Cincinnati's got a snowplow tracker, but this is technology that's different and new and actually getting some recognition for the city as being fairly innovative. What makes this so different?
Well, it's reading in pretty fast in real time. Every 15 to 20 seconds it reads in. Obviously, you'd have to refresh, your computer to see that. It gets updated in GIS about every 10 minutes, but it's pretty quick. It shows where they've been. If you go onto that site on the right-hand side, there's a list where it shows the priority streets, has a bunch of frequently asked questions that people have, has a lot of good information on there, but you can actually see what streets we've been on and where we're heading.
So this is live television, everyone. They just had to dump out because our signal was so bad. But I'm going to keep you because I have another question for you, and I need to use this later for work. So again, this is what happens with a backpack live unit sometimes is we don't get great cell signal occasionally, or it takes a hit, and so in the middle of one of your answers, they took a couple of hits, and the signal started to drop out, and so all of a sudden, in my ear, I heard Kristen say, okay, well, Evan and Dan and Hamilton, thanks, so they got most of it, but while I have you, I wanted my one last follow-up question for you was going to be, how many crews go out tonight, tomorrow, Friday? What does the game plan look like the next 2 days?
Actually, we are blessed here at the City of Hamilton. I have 2 full crews that I can run on 12-hour shifts. I didn't have that at my previous job. We had to do what we could get done and keep them in, and sometimes they would take naps there at work and get back after it. But we have the luxury of having 2 full crews. We run 12 hours, so we'll bring in that first crew at the right time, hit the storm running. They'll work for 12 hours, bring in the next crew, and we don't stop that until all the streets are clear and safe.
All right. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Let's give a round of applause for this man who just did something that I don't think I've done in front of a pseudo-studio audience. So, Dan,
thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. Thank you,
and
Evan,
good luck.
for everything. And this wonderful place. Thank you.
All right, I'll take that microphone from you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. So I'm actually kind of glad that worked the way it did, because you got to see how sometimes our best laid plans go right to crap. It happens more often than I care to admit. And I guess I can stop calling into this. There we go. So we've set up the live. We've done the live. The live has been moderately successful. We got the gist of the information, which is all that mattered before everything went south. That is a live shot. It is not nearly as exciting or necessarily as involved as it may appear, or maybe it's more involved than you think. I don't know. We can talk about that a little bit later, too. But that is only a small part of what we do every day. Sometimes I don't even do a live shot. Sometimes they've decided there's no reason for you to be live today. Your story stands as is. I don't need you to stand out there and wait around for half an hour or so just so you can stand here and go, look at this. This happened today. This is nice. So that was our live. Well, come on now. All right. Oops, I forgot. See, road maps. I'm telling you, sometimes I need. So, how did we do? How did Dan do? I'm going to stop down and take a quick, if there are any questions about what you just witnessed, because I just threw a lot at you. If anyone has some questions about this live interview that just happened, I'll take a few minutes now to answer those, and then we'll do some more questions at the end. But is anyone like, I don't understand what just happened? Yes? The website is hamilton-oh.gov, and then there's a button at the top. Yep. So it's the city's website.
There's a bunch of information on that website. It has things that the citizens can kind of do to help us out that people might not normally think about. There's a bunch of those bullet points, as well as things that we typically would do for each storm event to kind of prepare. It's pretty informative, and it's got that button down there for that web app for that snow informer. I think you'll really like that.
It is amazing how much information is available now that you can just scrape and use into some genius with coding and technology has come up with ways to take all these numbers that exist online and put them into something that's useful. I wish I was that smart. Okay, so what I was brought here to talk about what we do, how we do it. And I figured there's no better time than now to use sports as an example as to how things have changed in this town and in this industry over the last number of years. And I like it down here much better than standing at that podium. And again, I have colleagues and friends and former colleagues who are so much smarter than me, and so sometimes I will let them do my work for me. One of those former colleagues, is John Popovich, who was our sports director for decades. He's the best writer in television I've ever met. A couple years ago, WCPO 9 turned 70, and he put together a piece about how technology in our newsroom has changed along with how sports have changed, and I was like, well, this could not be more relevant than it is right now, and so I'm just going to let Mr. John Popovich explain how some things have changed in the last 70 years.
Outside, we're still looking young and hearty. But let's take you inside, where you can't hide the wrinkles. Where TV was first made up. Where Cincinnati's memories were first glued together.
Well, the UC team is back here inside the South Shuttle-County.
The national champion Bearcats came back in 1961 in a blaze of black and white glory.
It's been a great place. There's been a lot of memories here.
Film had turned to color by the time the Reds left Crosley, and a new era took shape on a once barren riverfront. There we celebrated a couple of championships. Sports had transitioned, so did TV. It was the advent of videotape and live reports.
Here comes the snow again. Or is that confetti?
That's snow.
Everybody covers the Findlay Market Parade now. We did it first in 1977.
Live from Greater Cincinnati Airport, the champs come home.
The Bengals also got good.
Let's
we
do
went
this
live
again,
with Who
shall
Day
we?
Madness on a Sunday night.
Congratulations. Did you expect this kind of result? Oh, there's never been anything like this in Cincinnati. It's unbelievable.
It was just starting.
It was cold here at Riverfront for the AFC Championship game.
That's Channel 9's Bob Hillman on the day of the Freezer Bowl in 1982. 59 below. We sent a handful of reporters to Super Bowl 16 in balmy Pontiac. 7 years later, the Bengals did it again, this time getting to Super Bowl 23. We sent half the station to Miami to cover that one. Channel 9 was an innovator. Sports of all sorts started in 1980. The boss said, let's do this for 13 weeks. We're still doing it 39 years later.
Live from the Cincinnati Gardens.
Channel 9 put Xavier basketball on the air. Some memorable, bitterly played shootouts included, like the time Xavier won, Bob Huggins wouldn't shake hands. And it's hard to imagine this now, but in 1990, we got the Big Red Machine back together for one weekend to play a baseball game at the redone Crosley Field.
Hello, Pete. Welcome back.
We always tried to bring you the inside story. In the lobby when Pete came back. In the dugout when he slid into third. On the catwalk when he broke the record. In a sweaty conference room when he got kicked out. There have been lows, but there have been plenty of highs too.
Hello again, everyone.
1990 was the last time we had a big Let It Loose celebration to cover. I think we're due for another one. Inside
Little did John
WCPO,
know.
we do see the past, but we look to the future, and more memories keep coming.
I look at all that videotape and that film, and now we're down to a memory card.
So tiny.
For all of our videos. So technology has changed a lot, but really when you think about it, the people, the games, and the stories are really what still count.
And you know,
And that's what Eric's shooting on right now, is a little tiny chip that I lose all the time. So a lot has changed, a lot has stayed the same. How we do what we do, why we do what we do, is still exactly the same as it was 70 years ago. I think most of us, I can't say all of us, there are some people I've worked with, not here, other places, who got into TV because they think they want to be on television. And as you can see, it's really glamorous. But I think most of us got into TV, got into news, because we felt strongly about people and we wanted to tell stories about people. Some people get in because they really want to hold people accountable and they feel very strongly that people are being wronged, and that's their mission. Some people do it because they love the community they're from and they want to serve it in a way that they're not physically fit to be a firefighter or a policeman. Some people do it because they ask a lot of questions as a kid and their parent was like, shut up, go ask questions somewhere else. Some people do it because well, we talk about it being a service, right? But some of us really do. There are long days and there are long nights. So we get in it for all sorts of reasons, and the reasons have stayed the same for 70 years. So let's define news. What is news? Why do we call it news? I like to say news, part of the answer to this question's in the word. It's new. It's something that's been uncovered. It's something that we did not know before. Whether we uncovered it or we found it out or we discovered it or someone brought it to us and said, hey, why is no one talking about this? It's news. It's also unexpected. You know, I've run into times where I've called on a story and someone's like, this isn't news. Why? I don't know. Why are we talking about this? And they think it's going to make them look bad. And I say, well, I'll use the example now. So there was an incident several years ago at a company function at Coney Island. And someone had brought a gun in and it was unlocked and the gun went off in the middle of a large corporate picnic. Police show up. We actually didn't find out about it until later. No one did. They managed to keep that under wraps pretty well. But when we called Coney Island, the general manager said, this isn't a story. Why is this news? Well, it's news because you don't expect a gun to go off at Coney Island. It's not a reflection on Coney Island. It's news because it shouldn't happen there, and that's what turned him. It's something that we didn't expect. News is also something that it can make you feel. And if we have time, I'll show an example of that when we talk a little bit about how to talk to the camera, how to share your story, because we all have a story. What else do you think news is? Shocking. Yeah. Unexpected, shocking. Sometimes it's unpleasant. There's been a lot of that. A lot of that. Sometimes it's shocking and it's fun. The Bengals. What else do we think news is? Yeah. We get to have a lot of fun sometimes. I always joke, someone says, do you like your job? Yes, most days. Some days are not so fun, but some days are amazing. Anyone else? I'm not going to give you an answer like this is a college class, but these are some things. At its heart, though, news is about people. So we talk about where does the news find the news? Well, we find it from people. We also find it because we know sometimes where to look. There's a lot of public records to be dug through. There's a lot of data to be mined so that we can track our snow plows and what roads have been cleaned and whatnot. So we have a lot of places to find it, but at the end of the day, it's about building relationships with people. Some of our best stories come from someone we met once who goes, hey, you did this story with me a few years ago. This just happened to my neighbor. I think this might be a story. And we look into it and go, yeah, you're right. So we find it through relationships. We also get press releases out the yang, all day, every day. So, where's Ian? Keep sending those. Just maybe not during a winter storm. We get so many, like hundreds a day. We get people who call our newsroom and say, we have a tip line, right? And say, here's what happened. The I-team has a tip line. So we're getting it from all over. Now we get news from social media. Every fire department, police department, law enforcement agency, city, county, state health department has a Facebook page, a Twitter page. I think people are on Instagram now and TikTok. I don't know. I don't do TikTok. I don't understand it. I'm too old. That is past my point of I don't know, and I don't need to go down a rabbit hole for 3 hours a day watching videos of people dancing. But so we find news everywhere, but we're always looking for other places because people keep finding new places to make news. So the other thing we want to talk about before we get into some things, decisions. Who makes them? When are they made? The number one question I think I get asked is, okay, but so how do you decide what goes on the 6 o'clock news, the 11 o'clock news, what goes on your website? And the answer is, oh boy, it depends. There's a lot of decisions in a day as a reporter. So today I'm going to leave here and I'm going to go turn a story about how Hamilton is getting ready for a winter storm. In the course of turning that story, I'm going to make probably 100 decisions that affect the outcome of that story. Who am I talking to? Well, I already talked to Dan. What video am I going to use? The hardest decision in my day and in my job is what do I leave out? Because we only get about a minute and a half to tell a story, which sounds like a long time, but it's not. And something's got to be on the cutting room floor. It's the hardest part of the job. What do I leave out? When are we making decisions all day, every day? Who's making them? Every single person who works in news. You're going to meet some of them in a minute. I make decisions. Our producers, Tammy, who was on the other line, on the other end of the phone, she's the one who puts the newscast together. She decides ultimately what goes in the show. She's making decisions. She's got 1 to 2 managers above her who are making decisions and checking her decisions and questioning her decisions to the point that some days Tammy goes home and is like, why? What am I even doing here, right? We all have those days because someone's always questioning us and saying, okay, but what is that? Why do we do that? We talk a lot about broad impact. Why do I matter? You're going to hear a lot of people in this next video say, so I ask, why do I care? How do we make the decisions? We'll get into that in the next several minutes. And why do we make decisions? Because we have a finite number of resources. There's only so many of us, and there are a lot of stories to be told, and there's a lot of digging to be done, and sometimes things take time, right? So again, I like to pawn things off on people that are smarter than me and better at their job than me. Former news director of ours who now works for our corporate parent company, which, by the way, is based in Cincinnati, downtown. Our CEO has my cell phone number. That's wild. Not many people can say that. So Mike, our former news director, was very big on transparency and on building trust with people and explaining how we do our job. And he wrote a number of columns on our website over the course of a couple of years. And actually, this is now what he does for the Scripps Howard Foundation. But this is one of them, and I like this. On any given day, there are hundreds of possible stories. We choose the stories we think are most important or most interesting to our community, and then we cover those stories using the resources available to us. We're not going to cover every car crash. We just can't. And oftentimes, if a car goes off the road, if a car goes off the road and it doesn't shut down a road and no one gets hurt, if you're sitting at home, I'm not going to waste 30 seconds or a minute of your time telling you that a car went off the road and no one got hurt. It's a fine line. If something happens in your neighborhood and you don't hear about it from us, you might not think to come back to us, right? So it is a fine line. There are some assumptions that people often make about how we cover the news and how we make decisions about the news. Maybe you have said some of these. I know I've heard all of them, right? Journalists shouldn't pick and choose what to cover. At some point we have to, right? Just because we have a limited number of time and resources, so we have to be selective. ABC, our network that we are affiliated with, or your corporate owners, the W Scripps Company based in downtown Cincinnati, tell you what to report. Never happened. At least with our company. It happens some other places sometimes. Has never happened to us. You get paid to tell certain stories. Your advertisers control what stories you tell. There's a reason our sales department's on the second floor hidden away from us and we never see them. I don't know half of them. There is almost no interaction. Most TV stations, if they have enough space, their sales is on a different floor. Every TV station I've ever worked at, the sales team is upstairs or downstairs from the news team. And there's not a lot of crossover. We see each other at public events that we sponsor and we go, oh, I know you worked for Channel 9. How about that? And I take no money for anything. I am not allowed to generally, unless it's something that's unrelated to news coverage, right? You only tell stories that benefit your friends. My friends are very interesting, but they're not making news. Sometimes I become friends after the fact with people. I have a lot of friends now who own businesses across our area because for a year and a half during a pandemic, all I did were stories about how businesses were struggling and needed help to survive, and then the process of getting help or not getting help, or how they survived. We called it The Rebound. We had a whole series based on it. A number of us worked on, and it was about the challenges and issues, and then we got to celebrate when they did reopen. And we celebrate that they're doing it. So some of these people have become acquaintances of mine just by proximity and because I called them all the time. When you call someone enough, they either call the cops on you or they become your friend. So my coworker Larry Seward last year did this piece for News Literacy Week, which is, in full disclosure, something our parent company, EW Scripps, helped launch a couple of years ago to help combat distrust in what we do and help shed some light and share a little behind the scenes. We just came out of News Literacy Week. Thank you to Ginny McKay, by the way, from the Journal News, who wrote about this and mentioned that in the piece. It was last week. You potentially will see another version of this story that shows a couple different angles on things later. But Larry last year did this, so we were in the throes of pandemic still last year, so things might look kind of funny. But this is a little bit to explain how we choose stories and where we get stories. I'll let Larry handle it, because he's a lot better than I am.
Butler County has 3 scanners. Take any WCPO story. Rewind to its beginning.
Ohio's Secretary of State wants new deadlines
before we shoot a frame of video.
All right, Megan, you want to start us off with Enterprise, Investigative, and Rebound?
Yes, we have a lot of Rebound stuff today.
Reporters, managers, and the people putting shows together known as producers.
I don't think someone at the restaurant's going to attack you. I think you're probably...
You never know.
Debate most everything you see and hear.
How often are you told which stories to select because of an agenda?
That never happens. I mean, there's no businesses from the sales side that are influencing us in any way. There's no corporates telling us what stories to tell.
I'm finding my stories through people I talk to, through people I meet, and through meetings that I'm pulling agenda items from. 4 out of 5 days a week, I'm moving forward with stories I pitched myself. We have a system, we put our story ideas in the system, and it goes to our managers who look through and decide what they think is newsworthy for the week. We then go to a larger group meeting, and we again each talk about our story.
What are you listening for?
As an editor, I listen for why should I care? How does this impact me or someone that I care about? Or how many people does it impact? And then, you know, a lot of times we also have to incorporate breaking news.
It's not clear when the bridge will reopen.
My name is Felicia Jordan, and I'm a real-time editor at WCPO, which essentially means we are the breaking news hub.
9378, Russellville, Arnheim.
A lot of it is through police scanners and just listening and hearing what's going on in the communities. And it's also about resource management, right? Whether we have a photographer available, whether we have a reporter available.
Sometimes we have more stories than people to tell them on the flip side.
You just called and said, hey, I want to be a part of this. And that was just overwhelmingly heartwarming.
We found Aaron Thorne working to get our attention. After reading how he panhandled to find his wife a kidney before I moved here, I reached out and learned about his family's new mission, helping others in need find transplant donors. Erica Thomas got her daycare's recovery on air through reporter Marielle Carbone.
I was on the phone, I was calling, I was even calling the news places like before. It was like, wait, don't forget about us.
Even after writing script, story selection is hardly over. Each needs manager approval.
What are you doing when you're approving my script?
I will read it out loud and I will imitate the reporter.
Wait, you imitate me? I want to hear you imitate me.
I'm reporter Larry Seaward, and I'm live at the foot of the Roebling Bridge, where several semi-trucks have literally just tried to cross in the past 5 minutes.
I don't sound like that for the record. The reason you do that is why?
Just to make sure it also sounds correct, it also sounds concise and clear.
The goal is accurate, fair reporting of stories that are important, interesting, and or reflect our community.
We're not robots. We do have biases. Every single one of us does. But what the difference is between us and some random person out in the community is we literally have professional training on how to keep our biases in check.
And it starts long before anything airs. Larry Seaward, WCPO 9 News.
Change. Go. Yay. So Larry touched on, actually Mike touched on something there. Let me start with a couple of things you might have noticed. Marielle was doing everything herself. Did you catch that? Some of us, most of us anymore, are what we have a whole language our own in television. It's wild. If you ever hear us talk amongst ourselves, you're going to be like, I understood virtually none of what you just said. We have a whole language our own. We're called MMJs, multimedia journalists. That is a very fancy way of saying we're a one-man band. So it's kind of what Eric is as a photographer, as a photojournalist. You shoot, you edit. The only difference is he doesn't often have to write his own stuff and then get in front of a camera and do it. So Marielle, myself, are considered MMJs. So we go out and do it ourselves. Sometimes we'll get a photographer. It's all about staffing or about, is it not necessarily safe to go out? When it's icing and snowing the next couple of days, ain't no one going out by themselves. That's just bad practice, right? So that's part of that. Something Mike said is that we all have biases, and that's people say the media's biased. And there is no such thing as an unbiased media because we all have a lived experience. We all have our own unique upbringing, our own unique life journey. The difference being we go through so much training and so many things to make that not matter. Like, we know what our mission is. We know how to do what to do. And you don't let your experience influence that per se. Trust is a big issue. You stood up. Am I out of time already? Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me look at that. And we'll blow through this real fast then. How about that? Okay. So, yeah. The other mic? Yep. So, good. I'll blow through this. Trust is obviously a big issue. Part of the reason I agreed to do this is because I believe in transparency and showing off and answering your questions. We are part of, at WCPO 9, part of the Trusting News Project, which is actually my life coming full circle. I know half the people involved in this because they're all based out of Columbia, Missouri and the University of Missouri. So we do a number of things, most recently being we invited people to watch our morning meeting, our morning editorial meeting, where we decide what stories are being covered, who's covering them, and when they're airing. We took people who had indicated on a survey that they had low trust in media, and we invited them in. We didn't change everyone's mind, right? But the number one thing people told us was, wow, I can't believe how many story options you have and how many story pitches and press releases and everything you get and how many decisions you have to make a day. We didn't change everyone's mind, but people left saying, that's good to know that, like, yes, you do live here. You are people who go shopping at the Kroger down the street. We're also, we abide by codes of ethics, 2 big ones. The Society of Professional Journalists. Let me point out Ginny again, who is the president of the Cincinnati Society of Professional Journalists chapter, so she keeps us on our toes. This is the industry standard. Seek truth, report it, minimize harm, act independently, be accountable and transparent. Our parent company, EW Scripps, also has a code of ethics, and I need my cheat sheet for this because there's a lot of them, but it's honesty, fairness, accuracy, minimize harm, independence, and obey the law. Sounds pretty basic, right? But these are the things we are governed by. I keep these at my desk. So I'm not going to show you the same video again. Sorry, Whitney. Okay, so before we go to Q&A, so news is kind of like bourbon. I don't know if you're like me. I like bourbon. I like to think I liked bourbon before it was cool to like bourbon, because it's really cool right now. Bourbon has very strict sets of rules, but there's wiggle room in the formula in between. And that's what makes larceny different from anything Jim Beam makes, or Jack Daniels makes, or Angel's Envy makes. Pick your favorite. Everyone's the same, but they have to follow strict rules. That's why things look and taste different, right? News is a little bit like bourbon in that sense. Parting thoughts and gifts. Melise, will you stand up? She made it, everyone. You can thank Melise, our creative services director, for your mugs today. She is the one person who could make it in between all of the meetings about all of the news that's happening and all of the things today. So I appreciate you. Thank you. She's the one who keeps us on point on our branding and makes us all look good and gives us gifts, which is nice. So we're also going to pass on this one. Bye-bye. Sorry, Steve Hartman. Okay, time for questions. Where did the time go?
Trey, are you there? Can we go hot on the
Haha, no questions for you. What was that about transparency?
There we go. We're going to go hot on the Q&A mic. We've got one over here. Thank you. There we go.
Hey there, thank you. Fellow Bobcat.
Yeah, go Bobcats.
Right. Do you want to tell them just a little bit about the Grandpa Goes to the Super Bowl story?
I can tell you a little bit. So Grandpa is going to the Super Bowl. He's 87. I think I didn't do this story, but I have loved it. We asked for a reaction video after the championship win in Kansas City. And this man, lifelong Bengals fan for more than 80 years, the video is him just breaking down, sobbing, is so happy. And it went viral, as these things do. And people said, we've got to get this man to the Super Bowl. And as you may or may not know, going to the Super Bowl will cost you your firstborn. So they have raised something like $60,000 to get this man to the Super Bowl. And I cannot wait. Between him and the officer in Milwaukee who got shot and came out of the hospital in his Bengals uniform, he is also going to the Super Bowl as of yesterday. So I can't wait to meet these people. I will be in LA.
And Evan, who else is going to the Super Bowl?
Yes, I will be in LA, and I'm finding these people. This is my goal. So yeah, it's a great story. Ah, wait, even the deputy or the sheriff, oh my gosh. Oh yes, yeah. Bengals grandpa, yeah. I love it. I love it.
Do we have any other questions? Oh, quiet and shy today.
Is it because I've been yelling at you?
Lady in a Bengals jersey here. She's ready to go.
Did you see it was on Jimmy Fallon the other night.
Is this the puppy?
The puppies. Yes. And they had one dressed up as a ram and the other dressed up as a Bengal. And they let them out to this bowl of kibble. And whoever got there first, that was who was going to win the Super Bowl.
And the Bengals one came from behind, which is so on brand.
He came from behind and he scooted underneath and he got into the bowl first. So
it was amazing. Because at first I was like, the Bengal one didn't win. I'm like, oh, no. He snuck right in, which is exactly how we're going to win the Super Bowl.
I have a question.
Yes, I love it.
I've got a question for you. I've had some interesting media moments, but what's been the biggest challenge, biggest moment, embarrassing, didn't go right, should have gone wrong, other way around?
So many. I've done this for 10 years. So many. There have been a couple here that both involve bugs. So probably my first 6 months here, we were at something terrible happened. I think it was in Anderson, but it was by the river. It's always by the river. It was by the river, and we were, again, a live shot that is maybe silly. It's just pitch black out there. We're on a bridge. You can't really see anything. And they're like, all right, we are going to go live. We turned the big light on top of the camera that you saw, and you have never seen so many horse flies in your life. And I was like, boy, just get through this. Got through, tossed out to my story. Story runs. I'm like, yes. this. We're gonna pull it off. Come back, and somewhere I have a screen grab of it that one of our web editors took. I was tossing back, I was doing the all right, we're live in Anderson, Evan Millward, and as I said it, a horsefly came right here, and you see me go, Anderson! And then 4 months later, we're also by the river, and similar deal, it was mayflies. We turned the light on, and we needed to light a building behind us, so we had a lot of lights. We had lights on top of the live truck, we had lights on the ground. We turned the lights on, there were so many mayflies, the lights on top of the truck, they were landing on it because they were attracted to it, and burning because those lights are hot. So the top of our live truck is smoking, and you can smell it. We turn the light on, we are holding off until they toss out to me to turn the light on top of the camera so we can get through this. And the producer hit the button that opens up so they can talk into my ear over the phone line I'm on, and it didn't hit, and so they came to me live, and I was just doing this. So those are good times. I got more just like that, but they all run together now.
Any other questions up the back? Oh, no? Waving, not drowning? You guys are shy today.
You can ask me anything, I promise you. I will answer it.
They're usually more, talkative. Bueller?
I can't imagine I answered all your questions.
Yeah.
Though I did talk too long, so maybe I did. I don't know.
I can tell you I had an experience of, just during the pandemic, we've been doing a lot of Zoom calls and remote things, which is...
I am not a cat. I'm here. I'm not a cat.
I'm not a cat here. Well, and I have to say, if you've dealt with the media in this town, in the greater Cincinnati area, they're just fabulous. Obviously, we like our good friends.
I will say this. Everyone I compete against in this town, generally speaking, is a true professional, but is also friendly and a human being. Yeah. There are some people in other cities that in the news are just like, I am here, and they're just hateful.
And we get that experience when we're doing back in the good old days when we used to go to studios, but now we have to do it on our computers and our phones. And I have to say again to our friends at TV Hamilton who've been great at doing setup shots for me on Pyramid Hill and out the front. But you put your little ears in, and it's usually pretty good. And you get that, you get the producer in your ear, I get that full experience, and it's great. But I was set up out the front here one morning. They said we're going live at 8:30, and usually at 8:15 you get a little pre-call, you do a little thing, you do a test on the video and the streaming in your ears, and it's all good. And then they count you down, and you can hear the news, and then you're on the news, and then you're off the news, and it's fine. But it was
normally
8:25, 8:27, 8:29, and I'm checking my phone, going, did I get the wrong time? I might think 8:35, nothing. And then at 8:39, my phone rings.
This wasn't us, was it?
It was another station.
Okay,
in
thank
Cincinnati.
God.
And I'm like, okay, so we do this, and they're like, we're gonna go. Okay, we're ready to go. I'm like, no, I can't. What? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. And we're crossing live, and I'm like, I can't hear you. Were my last words.
I also had a live shot once where they came out to me and I was going, I can't hear anything. I don't know.
We did a 3-minute interview.
So you talked for 3 minutes?
I'd done a few of these before, and I'm thinking, well, the first question's probably going to be about what we're going to be talking about. So that was a fun day out. So doing live television, I don't know how you guys do it every single day, because the news is probably one of the last live shows.
And anymore with the advent of streaming apps and everything, a lot of it's become module now. So some of it's, our newscasts are all live, but our parent company is dabbling in newscasts that, if it's at a weird time, 4:30 a.m., probably doesn't need to be live unless something's happening, which is not often at 4:30 a.m. But it's module newscasts, and you can put things in it's kind of the headline news format back in the day. You just put things in, and they run, and you can change them out as you need. But it is true, sports and news are the last, and award shows, but no one watches those anymore because.
Last chance for questions.
Seriously, no more questions?
Wow, I'm telling Evan. Oh, there we go. Forced it out. I'm like, come on, ask a question.
I will shame you into asking me questions.
In your career, have you ever felt in danger while you were reporting, as in it doesn't have to be violent through people, but maybe the weather conditions, or actually if there was a crime scene or something, have you felt at risk just reporting live?
Sometimes. There have been times where in weather you're like, we are not going live. We're not. Back in the days of the live truck with the 30-foot tall mast you had to put up. We go through the training every year, like online. They have to. And it's like if there's lightning, don't put the mast up. Weather has not really, though. I've had friends who in flash flooding in Houston have been in flash flooding, and truly, it's been a close call. Weather, not so much. There have been crime scenes I've been to that have been volatile. I don't know that I've ever truly felt in danger. I did get hit with a bottle of Hennessy covering unrest in Cincinnati last summer. I have the bottle, almost brought it, actually. It sits on my desk. I use it as a reminder.
Full or empty?
Empty. Now it's empty. I'm just kidding. I use it as a reminder that, like, there are people who think it's funny to, because there was that thing going around that words I can't say in mixed company, where people would run into our live shots and yell them because they thought it was funny and that they would go viral. I'm glad that has died down. Hold on, knock on wood. Oh, God. I'm superstitious. The Hennessy bottle was not cool, though I was fine. It didn't even bruise. But if I had been shorter, it would have sent me to the hospital because it hit me like right here. That was not cool. I didn't really love that. I will say the most nervous I've ever been, and I think just because of circumstance, was the day that the morning reporter in Virginia, her and her photographer were killed doing their live shot by a disgruntled former employee of the station. And then 5 hours later, I got a call like, "Hey, we need you to go be live at the scene of this car that crashed into a building." And I was like, I don't love this. I don't like that. Our live shots are our most vulnerable moment. Anytime anything bad happens to someone on TV, they're generally live because a photographer is weighed down with a camera, a backpack. They can't see behind them. I can't see behind me. I'm looking at them. They're looking into a viewfinder, so they can't really see behind me. It's our most vulnerable. So I love live television, but sometimes you're like, this isn't worth it. Circumstantial. Yeah.
If you expressed that to your station, would they honor that?
Yeah, our rule is almost no questions asked. If you get somewhere, we're like, okay, someone shot at a Walmart or something, you get there and you're like, We're like, don't. Nothing is worth. If you don't feel comfortable, we're not going to tell you you have to be there, right? So that's a non-answer, I guess. But there have been moments that nothing jumps out to me as like, wow, I thought I was going to die. So thank God, knock on wood. Anything else? Thanks for coming.
Oh,
yes.
One up the back. Hold on one second. I'm going to get
Run. How fast are you?
Bam. I got my grown-up shoes on.
I'm just curious as to how long your workday is, because I've seen trucks over at the city building at noon, and then at the 11 o'clock news, they seemingly have a live report.
Right.
What's going on?
That's a great question. We have 3 shifts. There is I guess we have 4 shifts. We have 3 shifts for on-air people. The first crew gets in about 3:30, and they're on until noon-ish. Second crew, my shift, Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, I'm in at 9:30 on until 6:30. And then there's the night side, we call it, which is like a 2:30 to 11:30, 2:30 to midnight shift. And there's, in theory, a break thrown in there, but I can tell you, what you don't see is right after this presentation is the one I'm giving to a class at UC tomorrow that just got put on Zoom because it's going to be hateful. It's about like a day in the life, and one of the slides is, when do you eat? You don't unless you plan ahead. And it all depends. Some days, sometimes I'll pitch a story that I know is already set up and ready to go, and it's a piece of cake. Other days you're on breaking news and you're in a neighborhood and you're begging neighbors to let you in to use the bathroom because you're like, I've been out here for 8 hours. Help me. We've done that a lot. So yeah, in theory it's like a 9-hour shift with an hour break. That's what they tell us. And of course, if things happen, tornadoes, the Super Bowl in LA, we're pretty much working all day, every day, for those of us going to LA. So we're not sending half the staff like they did in '89, but we're sending a lot. So it can be a lot. I sometimes joke that news and even newspapers much the same way. news is more of a lifestyle than a career. Because you have to have friends who are okay with it, that at the last minute you might call and cancel dinner, or say, hey, like I play in a volleyball league and my team knows if we have a 6:30 game, probably not going to make it, but if I can, that's great. But I called them once. I was like, I am live in Fairfield, and I will not make it back to Pleasant Ridge, but in time for this 6:30 game. Sorry.
Well, Tim Giglio says you're a hell of a volleyball player, by the way.
I paid him a lot of money to say that, so. No, but I played against his team. I think we beat them. But I hadn't played in years. I played in high school a little bit, and I hadn't played in years until 2 or 3 years ago. It's been ugly, but it's okay. I'm just tall. That's all I'm good for.
Well, Evan, we are so glad that you could spend a couple of hours with us here at the Fitness Center as part of Celebrating Self. Thank you for your time, your energy.
Oh, wait a minute, and I have contact information. What was that? If you ever need me, because I left all my business cards, not all of them, most of them, in my desk. That's useful. Cell phone number, you can find me all over the interwebs. But seriously, if we're missing something, if we're messing something up, let me know. I will attempt to get back to you as soon as I can.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Evan Millward, WCPO.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. One thing I was very remiss. Did you enjoy your lunch? Yes, 2 women in a kitchen. Thank you, our partners here at the Fitness Center. Kirsten and the team looking after us. If you get over to the Woods restaurant over there at Berkeley, come and say hello, but you'll see her and her team here. We really appreciate it. A great afternoon's eating for all of us. So plenty to see and do here at the Fitness Center. Travel safe today and throughout the week. But remember, we have shows, we have theater, we have music, we have art. The galleries are open downstairs, and the official opening will be again on Saturday night before Professor Dan Rio Van and the Eclectic Jazz Orchestra happening here at your Fitness Center. We'll see you again very soon. Thank you.